afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host. Head in studio with me, Parker. What up, Park?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man, just hanging out. So we have this big old SpaceX situation that we talked about yesterday a lot, and it is like... that's going to be huge, and I maybe we'll talk about it some more today. Maybe we will definitely talk about it tomorrow. We're expecting to have Governor Landry on around the 4:00 hour. I'm very grateful for his time. He's been a very busy man lately, so that is always welcoming to get the guy on top to come talk about it, and he's done a wonderful job with that, man. That's talk about vision, execution, but also striking the pan while it's hot. You had Elon Musk wanting to do some things. You got Trump wanting to do some things. And you have a governor that's wanting to do some things. And you have a local parish there in Vermilion that wants to do some things. So that's wonderful. Great job to everybody from the top down, from the down to the top. Way to go, way to go. You like that? That was good. Yeah, it's a little different. So, all right, let's go from Louisiana landing SpaceX to Los Angeles, where it's getting interesting over there. Parker, have you noticed this?
I have not noticed. I don't know too much about it.
Well, listen in, because I can't wait to get your thoughts. All right, Los Angeles, where voters are apparently looking at their mayoral ballot and saying, I'm just telling you, lots of them, these are my choices. These two? All right, here's what's going on. Los Angeles is headed toward a mayor runoff between two Democrats. That's not shocking. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass, now that might be shocking, an incumbent mayor like that in Los Angeles, in a Democrat city like that, but it happens. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass, very well-traveled, very diverse in her places she's been. It's important. She likes that. And then there's this city councilwoman. I hope I don't butcher her name. Nathia Raymond. Is that what you would go with? You good? Like that would be okay, good. I'm sorry, Miss Raymond or Ramon. Either way. Who identifies this lady with the Democratic Socialist wing of the party. So even in L.A., we're starting to see some of the bigger DNC issues, the bigger Democrat factions breaking off. No unity, it seems. I don't know. We will see if there's unity or not. But one thing's for certain, this is another example. We kind of expected the DSA to be hot and heavy in California, in LA. We kind of expected it after New York went absolutely, well, they made choices that we disagree with in their mayor candidate. Okay, whatever. And all that does impact us, because where did they go? Today's the East Coast, tomorrow's the Midwest, and they did. And they went to Colorado. And they're looking at other places. Michigan. Oh, we're going to talk about Michigan. That's your friend El Said. Yeah, do y'all like, you know what a pen pal is? Do y'all pen pal each other?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
How'd
you know?
Well, I'm in tuned. I'm getting to know you a little bit more, and I kind of, I watched this gentleman. What's his like favorite activity? Could you give us an objective guess if you don't know?
I think it's dancing to Taylor Swift songs.
Okay, yeah, and from what I heard, only a few people have witnessed it.
Well, I think anybody can go witness it now. I think he posted a lot.
Oh, so it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So he likes, he's a DSA guy that he relates. He probably has the 1989 album. Probably, I know.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, like on his shirt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Little gold chain, kind of hitting all, Hey, we're going to talk about him in a little bit with Jesse Waters. That was, I don't know, some of it was kind of icky. But whatever, we'll talk about it. Let's talk L.A. first. So here you got two Democrats in a runoff in a very Democrat city, and one of them is we're just going to say one is the DSA, The other one is a socialist that I guess is not socialist enough. So the Republican in the race, well, Spencer Pratt, he didn't make the runoff. Spencer didn't make the runoff. So now it's Bass versus Raymond, or Ramon. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering her name. It's not intentional. Parker, I wouldn't do that on purpose. You know that. Were you giving me some eyes over there?
No, not at all.
All right, just checking. I don't want to be on your bad side. You never get on the bad side of the producer. But after their last debate, though, between those two, Miss Bass and Miss Raymond, well, I don't know if they like it. The reviews are in, not glowing. So I'm going to quote one of these voters who had previously apparently been a big Raymond supporter said, quote, "They're both bad. I wish they could both lose." That's a DSA voter. Now, I don't know much about the DSA. I don't know much, meaning I know much about it in the sense that it's absolutely a centralized government mentality, and I'm being kind saying it that way, or open socialist. But I don't know how fickle they are. I don't know how loyal they are. Apparently, this person, so was, what upsets you to not like any one of them? Because if you can go out on a limb and support a Democratic Socialist of America candidate, you would think you're all in. But then again, this could be one of those one-offs. And then again, this could be a regular Democrat voter that just is busy. And then for the first time, maybe they saw one or two bullet points that they liked. And then they see this debate for the first time, and then it's changes their mind. They're like, oh, wait, that's what that means? Oh, so wait, that guy in Michigan, he's saying the same thing, but he at least was honest about it and said our cost of living would go up and our taxes would go up. He said just a little. It's just a little, Parker. You know, all this money you're going to make in the future, it's just a little. Jeez. I just keep saying for some of these folks, if the government can't live on that much of our income, how can we be expected to? It's just a thought because we can't print money. If you do, it's illegal. Don't do that. Free legal advice. Don't do that. Not good. Not good. All right. So that's one of many, 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 many voters out there. But that's a rough focus group that I'm echoing here and relying on. And her complaint wasn't the ideological purity. So I want to get in the mind of these folks. You know what I'm saying? So we'll talk about that when we get back. Some of the issues, and this is, again, one of the focus groups over there. There's plenty of them. But let's talk about Spencer Pratt and how he came into play. And let's talk about other things like what is important to these voters. You may be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go check us out at rumble.com. I'm still hanging out with Parker. We're covering all we can. I don't know if we can fit it all in today, but I tell you what, I want you to fit in your schedule, St. Marie Orthodontics. Go visit my friend, Dr. Stacy St. Marie. If you have any orthodontic questions, if you think that, you know, should you get braces? Should your kids or your grandkids, are they eligible for braces? Is that a good idea? I keep saying to my fellow brace wearers that maybe we didn't wear our retainer all the time. So I can't go back in the past. Go check them out. Maybe there's a quick little fix that Dr. Stacy St. Marie and his crew can help you out with. But one thing I do know, they will shoot you straight and treat you like family. Go visit St. Marie Orthodontics here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And they added to the family, by the way, Park. Brought in a new dentist. She's doing great. Very smart. Very smart. All right. We're looking at the L.A. race for mayor. There's two Democrats in the runoff. You have Karen Bass, and then you have Miss Nathia Raymond. And Miss Raymond is a member of the DSA, so open socialists. We're looking at a focus group. One of the voters in the focus group was a big-time Raymond fan. And now, well, she don't want to vote for either one. But here's the deal. That's your only two choices. It's a runoff. It's going to be one of them. But this is the thing that stood out to me, and this is why I wanted to cover it. This particular lady was at least at some point willing to go vote for an open socialist. So it's not like she's not, I mean, she obviously has a wide range of acceptance there. All right. But, and it's a rough focus group, I get it. But her complaint wasn't even ideologically, I said ideological purity before the break. I'll stick with that. She said she doesn't see enough substantive difference between them. She criticized Raymond for failing to deliver on previous promises. Okay. She criticized Bass over the condition of the city and also her response to the fires. That's going to be a big deal for her. That's going to be a big deal for her. Another resident in the focus group, this is all LA, okay? Predicted people may simply stay home because there's so little enthusiasm for either candidate. That's true. So that I could see a very low turnout over there in LA, and that's a big position. That's a huge position. Mayor of LA. You know, hey, you should probably look into that. Now, if you really want to see some info on Karen Bass and how Miss Bass, maybe it's satire a lot of times, but he was driving in some points. Go Google Spencer Pratt videos. Go Google Spencer Pratt videos of Karen Bass. Did you Spencer Pratt was the Republican nominee, but you hadn't been following this race. When we get in a break or whatnot, see if you can pull one up. You're gonna. I mean, it is.
That's out in California.
Yeah, it's total AI.
Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to California.
Well, most people don't. But here's the deal.
I let them do their own thing.
Yeah, but if they do it over there, they can do it here. Trust me. That I-10 goes from West Coast to East Coast.
It does.
And a lot of ideas travel on it.
Yeah.
And we're getting SpaceX.
That is true.
I mean, I don't know what demographic follows that.
You should see on both the morning shows, Carol and Moon, we've been getting nonstop calls from people out in California about SpaceX.
Really? So there you go.
Telling us not to like not to fall for it.
Well, I mean, it's coming from California, so we should do the opposite.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. It's like literally a group of like 10 people.
So wait a minute.
They follow Elon everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
And anywhere he's like building something new, they call all the radio stations and tell them like to go against it. Like it's just a real thing, and it's been happening.
He has trolls from California.
Yeah. Oh, San Diego.
From San Diego, where I think there's more military people per capita than any place. That's what I understand. A lot of military service members over there. To anybody listening, thank you. And thank you for your service.
But yeah, they called it on Joe's show the other morning.
Oh.
It was like a 20-minute rant on
He let him go for 20 minutes?
Probably wasn't that long, but it was long. It was long. It felt like 20 minutes.
The listener's like, okay. No, Joe does a good job of balancing that. You always want to hear some. Hey, I welcome differing thoughts. I think, how can you get better if you don't hear different ideas? Doesn't mean you need to accept most of them. You should probably discern every decision. Boy, I wish I did some better discerning in my day in some of the decisions I made. I bet a lot of folks can say that. So let us all pray for wise discernment. So, but here's the deal. Most of the folks in this focus group that I'm relying on, their complaints were even more basic out of L.A. And this, Parker, this is the stuff that I'm talking about that could be resonating with locals wherever you live, okay? I know one place. Very basic. Enforce the law. One of the focus group folks talked about describing overdoses and robberies. Several of the members discussed attacks and abandoned animals just on the street and the health risks that go with that. Children in dangerous situations. The folks don't like that. These are basic things. Now, these are Democrats. These are Democrat voters, okay? People dying on the streets, one of the members said. One of the members expressed frustration with essentially, and I'm paraphrasing this, we're out here dealing with this stuff ourselves. Where's the city? We got to step over the needles. We got to step over the litter. We got to deal with the animals. We got to and just roaming, and we got to deal with the risk. So where's the city?
And I know I've said it before on here. That West Coast is just like you'll see some things that you never thought you'd see in your life over there.
It's crazy. Talk to us.
It's a beautiful like scenery wise. Like, you know, California's beautiful. The beaches, the weather. It's all you could ever want. But I mean, there, like I said, Seattle, Portland, LA, all of the West Coast, there are needles and drugs everywhere, all over the road, all over the sidewalk. And, you know, and they're big on like they have those Lime scooters.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what that is.
A Lime scooter?
So it's like essentially like people don't use cars as much because there's so many people. So you just like pay for a membership to like, and you can pick up any scooter on the side of the road and just drop it off at the next spot, you know, that type of stuff. So whenever I go to those cities, I use those a lot. But like I ultra sanitize my hands, ultra do all that. I mean, you should anyways, regardless of where you are, if you're using something like that. But you know, it's just like you do get a concern of like you're passing 15 people within a minute just sitting on the side of the road doing drugs. You're like, these people are using these scooters too, you know?
You know, that's a good point. And so you're thinking maybe, so that's very pragmatic, very practical. What are we doing? Is there anything we're doing locally, and I'm locally being Los Angeles right now, is there anything locally that we can curb our behaviors on? That's why, like in Lafayette, all these panhandling, we're hearing the same thing. Enforce the law. Enforce the law, then talk to them. Don't go talk to them and then enforce. They're not listening unless you're giving them dollars for drugs outside your window. I'm just saying. All right, I digress. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Please go visit my friends at Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. Giles Nissan, man, go check out all the variety of Nissans they have over there. And it is a Giles automotive facility. So we know that we have a wide variety of warranties too sometimes. Go check those out because some of these warranties are in addition to the dealership warranty. It's a Giles automotive facility. So, Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette, it is now August 2026. Go strike all those deals with those older models. Maybe we got some new models coming in, which we know they are. Hey, get ahead of the game. Go check them out. Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette, and tell them we said hello. So, Parker, guess we'll talk about a little Abdul Al-Said. I figured we'd get an intro, you know. And he just had one heck of a television interview a couple days ago. That's why we didn't have enough time because we were talking about SpaceX yesterday. I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but Park.
Yeah, this topic is, I have not seen this or heard of this yet, and this topic is really throwing me off, so I'm interested to hear about this. You got to fill me in on this one.
Oh, please, yes. And some of our viewing and listening audience, shout out to you. We love you. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, all right? But let's kind of spell out the players. Michigan Democratic Senate nominee. He's the guy. He's the nominee. Abdul Al-Said went on Jesse Waters' show Monday night. Kudos for Mr. Al-Said going on Fox News. That's fantastic. I'm serious. And, you know, to his point, I mean, to his credit and probably his point, there may be somebody listening out there that might agree. There may be somebody. I used to love going on shows that maybe the population wasn't necessarily agreeing with me because the bar was so low. I would just try to find common ground. If we could, we could. If we couldn't, we couldn't. Get what I'm saying? One of many small examples. There's so many better examples out there. But regardless, check out what happened. There's this interview, Fox News Channel, Jesse Waters' show. You got this Democrat, literally Democrat Socialist of America, so a socialist, openly socialist candidate, and somehow circumcision became part of a United States Senate race. And it will have, and it is having, probably not the domino effect that Mr. Al-Said wanted. So here's what happened. Waters pressed El-Said about medical interventions for transgender minors, and he asked in Waters' rather unique way. Can we say that? He has a unique way. I don't always agree with it, but okay. He just asked whether parents should be able to authorize surgery involving a child's genitals. Now, El-Said, you would think would give the left-leaning talking point about all these theories and all this yada, yada, yada. But El-Said's response was, quote, "Are you circumcised?" I think that's how he said it. And with that draw, too. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like he leaned in with it. You know what I'm saying? Like ever since Kid Rock out of Michigan was like relating to the South, he's like building on that. You still got some Kid Rock voters over there. I don't think they're socialists or Kid Rock supporters. Might have some voters. Anywho, so yeah, his response to all that, hey, should women or should mom and dad be able to change something that's irreversible, okay? Should they be able to do these operations on children's genitals? And El-Said's response was, "Are you circumcised?" That's where the conversation went. Now, Waters answered him directly. Yeah, but I mean, that's a personal question, doctor. Okay, all right. Then when El-Said tried to use circumcision as the analogy, okay, and push, Waters, he pushed back. Circumcision is different than castration. Now, he said that a little more colorful than I did. And later he called El-Said's position wacky and told him Michigan's not going for that. Michigan's not going for that. That is sick stuff. So that's kind of the exchange, okay? Now, Park, you put aside that awkwardness for a second, because when you watch it, hey, everybody's going to have their own reaction. And now that I kind of told you about it, that might put it in a different context. You know, I don't know. I kind of felt a little. That was an icky moment in my opinion, a little bit. But I get it. That's where politics is today. I just wish it wasn't. But come on, man. Even El-Said, like your folks, okay? Your folks. Hey, are y'all giving him advice?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, playing devil's advocate, like I see where he's coming from.
Okay.
But it's still like such a horrible point. Like that is probably the only analogy you could make, but it still is like one is recommended by doctors to like because of for multiple reasons it's recommended for health reasons. The other one is not recommended by doctors at all. You know, one is recommended, one is not recommended.
And to build on that, and I'm glad you said that. Okay, so let me build on that. And this is this is interesting. El-Said, okay, just like most of the Democrat Socialists of America, they're trying to hold together a pretty interesting coalition. Let's call it that. And specifically, an interesting coalition in Michigan. Chew on this, okay? Chew on this. He's got the progressive left, including voters who strongly support transgender rights. But Michigan also has a substantial religious Muslim population, particularly around Dearborn. We saw that. And many of those voters, they hold considerably more traditional views on sex and gender and family. Those two constituencies can vote for the same candidate for entirely different reasons. But on some social issues, those two groups do not agree with each other at all. And this New York Post column that I'm really kind of going off of for this segment, that exchange exposed it. That's what this New York Post article is saying. And it's true. Circumcision, tie this in. Circumcision is an ancient religious practice for both Muslims and Jews. So when El Said used circumcision as his response to a question about transgender medical procedures for minors, you can expect the criticism was immediate.
Yeah, it's just overall, it's a disturbing topic.
Park, you were saying this, and I'll echo what you said. Those are fundamentally different procedures. Circumcision and
polar opposite sides of.
But he may have created an unnecessary problem with religious voters while trying to defend a position important to progressive voters. That's the conundrum he's finding himself in. And they're all going to tightrope. They're going to try to walk on it, but those who stand for nothing fall for everything. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go check us out on rumble.com, and a special hello to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. We love all of our audience. We certainly appreciate you guys. Phone lines are not open today, but the admiration to you is always there. And we'll take some calls in tomorrow. And again, we'll have the governor on at expected to be on the 4 o'clock hour. I don't know how long we'll have him, but we're appreciative of any time that he can find for us. We were talking about some pretty neat indirect effects. I say neat. I should say some big important things that municipalities and parishes are going to have to take into consideration off that SpaceX deal, which is going to be fantastic. It has all the signs to be fantastic. We'll keep pushing on. But regardless, he can talk about it tomorrow. He's very well versed, and it was his vision. It was his team that spearheaded it, and they deserve a lot of credit. But so do those local leaders in Vermilion Parish. Man, I'm telling you, man, that's not as easy to juggle as people may think. Oh, the state's behind it, the federal government's behind it. It's easy. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Makes it a lot easier, but you're still where the rubber meets the road, baby. That local government. But anywho, let's go back to Mr. El Said. He had a little issue. Okay, so he's trying to pander to the absolute left wing DSA voters, but he also has a strong Muslim base in Michigan, and his response to Jesse Waters asking him about whether or not a parent should have the right to do medical procedures on minor children in their genitalia area. And instead of answering the question, because, everybody expected the left-leaning answer, and I don't think anybody would have faulted him for that. I think it's kooky. I think it's absolutely, for someone as educated as him to say that is making me question the curriculum in which he got there. I'm just saying. Before you're a lawyer, you got to pass a few things, not just grades. You got to go through some processes. Medical doctor. So if it's good enough for the Juris Doctor and the medical doctor, Why not the PhD? Why can't we have a little? We would cut out a third of them. Maybe not. I think so. But El Said, man, his comeback was, well, are you circumcised? And that is not going to sit well with his Muslim voters. Circumcision is ancient. Goes back to both religions. First the Jews. Parker can talk about the Christianity aspect of that. You ready? I'm kidding. But look, he's not some random commentator. That's another thing we need to highlight. This cat, he is a physician. That was a fair question Waters asked him. Mr. El Said is a physician running for the... So I said PhD, I apologize. So I want to know where he got his credentials. I just gave the MDs credit. And I still do. I love them. There's always a crazy apple out there. So he's a physician running for the United States Senate. In what I'm seeing, Park, you correct me if I'm wrong, in one of the most competitive races in America right now. So I think this clip will be saved in the arsenal. I mean, whether it is used broadly, which I don't think it will. I think this is going to follow him. And I think that the Republican nominee will be able to hyper-focus that message on a specific community. And that's the balance. I mean, Democrats have assembled coalitions containing highly, highly progressive secular votes. And the Democrat Party has also established a very culturally traditional religious minority group as well. Those two ideologies, yeah, I guess they could overlap on some, but when it comes to this on circumcision, look, that goes beyond politics. And it's a competitive race. It only takes a little bit. It's a swing state for a reason. It only takes a little bit to put one candidate over the other in a tight race, whether it's Michigan or Pecan Island. It doesn't matter. Boy, talk about these local races. Sometimes like 5 votes matter. I mean, it is something. So every vote counts. Get out there. So I think, Park, this clip will probably follow him. You know, the larger question is actually, I think, a little bit more interesting. So, you know, and really it's basically this, man. You got all these coalitions, all right? Usually those voters are talking about the issues where they agree. And you can say that about the conservative base, or excuse me, the Republican Party too. You got a conservative base and then you have a non-conservative base. But there seems to be a lot more overlap between the strong conservative base and the non-strong conservative base of the Republican Party. Like there seems to be a general consensus on the principles for the most part. And I think really there's only a conservative wing because we're frustrated of the lack of action. But the beliefs are probably still the same, if not overlapping a lot. Man, there's like 3 miles of daylight between the Democrat, socialist, progressive left wing of the party and the Democrat Party and groups like the Muslim community who look at that totally different. They look at transgenderism totally different. And those camps, at least in Dearborn, Michigan, maybe not in other places, those voters are going to respond. And I don't think it'll be good for Mr. El Said. And, you know, you're going to come back with, are you circumcised? Like that's any comparison. You are making good points. But even on the far left, they are usually talking about things they agree on. Immigration, big government economic policy, and I say that big government meaning centralized government economic policy as opposed to the private sector. And these guys openly agree with that. I mean, they are open socialists on the DSA, but even then you can find common ground on economic policy. Even then you usually can, and maybe they do. Maybe they do have I don't think their foreign policy is the same at all. Nancy Pelosi wasn't around saying LGBTQ for Palestine because she was educated. And she would know that doesn't go together. That group would exist on this planet for about maybe 30 minutes, and that's probably what it would take to drive them to where they're executed. I don't know. I mean, but there are fundamental differences, and gender in children may be one of them. And Abdul El Said may have just stumbled directly into that fault line. On national television, by the way. And by asking Waters if he's circumcised. Park, I guess this is American politics in 2026. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting from the KPEL Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. I got my boy Parker over there having some fun with me. That was an interesting topic, last one, huh?
Yeah, super
mind-boggling,
super odd.
Yeah,
super
I'm
odd.
telling you, I felt awkward when the exchange. It's hey, but fair question. I get it. Provocative question. I think Mr. El Said was trying to I one up you. Because, there had to be some thought into that. Well, circumcision is surgery on genitalia. Mr. El Said, you may want to go look at religious history. Both the Jews and the Muslim religion has ties to this. And you have a large population in Michigan that is probably not happy with that statement. And I think it's one of those where they stay home. I don't know if they go, maybe they vote for I would imagine. I don't know if they're voting Republican, but I think they might. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? If as what I appreciate of the Muslim faith, practicing Muslims, their values seem to be more in line with the Republican Party, religious liberties, religious freedom, limited government. You be you. But transgenderism, as far as changing, look, you want to go call yourself a woman and dress like them as an adult, you be you, okay? Just don't expect me to call you something that you're not, because that would be an untruth. And there is a deceiver and there is a creator. The deceiver mimics because the deceiver can't create. It's impossible. But the creator creates. And the creator made it perfect. Only humans can mess it up. Now, if you've got children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews, or you just care about kids, listen to this one. Listen to this one. Meta. You may have heard of them. Meta. the massive technology company that owns Facebook and Instagram, they have agreed to pay up to right around $17 billion, okay, to settle claims that its platforms were deliberately designed to addict children and that the company misled parents and the public about the risks.
So I'm going to get some money? I'm going to get some money?
So you're addicted?
Maybe I was when I was a kid. If I'm going to get some money, I was.
You were subjected to this massive invasion into you and your fellow friends' minds. They were, what do you think they were trying to do?
I don't know.
You know, you could get
probably
real.
Worked, though.
Well, you could get real conspiracy theory here. Maybe they were indoctrinating you folks.
I don't know.
Maybe it's tell your mom and dad to buy this. Hey, and if that wouldn't be the first time, you don't think them Saturday morning commercials in the 80s weren't designed to make us go bug the heck out of our parents? That's when the word no started to break my heart. But I'm glad my parents said it. All right. Hey, so there is a fight over this, and Louisiana. So that settlement, by the way, Louisiana was part of the fight, my fellow Louisianians. They joined. We joined other states in suing Meta back in 2023. So that would be under Governor then. Well, it's Governor Landry now. Then Attorney General Jeff Landry. Happy to see our current Attorney General Liz Murrell doing a wonderful job. She picked that up too. And again, our state being one of the participants in the settlement. Now, to be clear, Meta wanted me to make sure to tell y'all that they denied the allegations. Now, I interpreted their statement personally to me to tell y'all. So, but rather than continue this little massive federal court fight that they were, boy, I mean, you got 29 states suing you. Do you know the firepower behind an attorney general? They got some firepower. I'm talking to research and file and monitor and keep up with all these things. It was becoming quite the fight. And it probably just put Mr. Zuckerberg there, Mark Zuckerberg, probably put him in a position where he would be called to testify, and the company did not like that. I don't know why. You can't say it's cost. Like cost of litigation, the litigation I don't think would have cost you 17 unless you anticipated damages being higher, which, okay. But the money is almost secondary to what Meta has now agreed to change. And that is what I'm talking about with these attorneys general. Very, very proactive here. I mean, this was a good move. It's something you would expect, but follow through is not always something we expect. And I applaud all 29 of them, especially our former AG, but our current AG for sticking with it. So good deal. We certainly appreciate her. And as a Solicitor General, she was pretty well versed in social media and First Amendment law. She fought that fight along with Mr. former AG. Missouri joined in, but that's a topic for a different day. So I'm glad we have somebody experienced there is what I'm saying. Now, the money again, that's big. But for kids using Facebook and Instagram, a combined 2-hour daily limit will now be implemented. It's mandatory breaks, by the way, designed to interrupt endless scrolling. So you could see that. No access between midnight and 6 a.m. No push notifications during school hours at least. Stronger age verification, because a lot of these folks and some of the people in this fight, some of the AGs even, from what I understand, were raising this concern. Kids can just put a birthday that's 18.
I made a Facebook account when I was 12 and put that I was born in 1994.
Yeah, how was it? Did you look up 1994 in case they checked?
No, I'd never even used it after I made it. I just wanted to sound cool and said I had a Facebook account. But you had to be 18 when Facebook first came
so
out.
Yeah, you were like 12-year-old, like you were thugging it out over there.
Yeah, so I knew they said you had to be 18, so I just said my birthday was in 1994.
I mean, that's like regular juvenile delinquent. Are your parents okay?
They're the ones who made it for me.
That's pretty good. But hey, this is good too, though. That's why I highlight the stronger age verification. That's important, you know. These kids can be just like Parker was slick when he was 12 and just changed the year he was born. I mean, come on. So stronger age verification, more parental controls. They're gonna the AG settled with Meta restrictions involving beauty filters and visible like counts. I can go on and on about that. And there was some psychology behind that, and you could see the harm of that. You could see predators. You could see, that's a whole bunch of stuff that you could see. We're just running out of time in this segment that I'm going to have to move on here in a little bit. But, hey, look, additional protections involving bullying. I know our AG was strong on that. Eating disorder content, suicide, and self-harm. So, you know, you can have some content, or you can have some monitors there when you have these age restrictions that are verified. That will help. So, all right, guys, stick around. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We got Parker in here. We want to see you over there at rumble.com. Look at the chat feature. Join the convo there. Also, go check out my friends at Stan's Auto. Man, for all your automobile needs, Stan's Auto, 2 locations, one in the great city of Lafayette, other in the great city of New Iberia. You can't miss either location. One's right off of Admiral Doyle, one's right off of Johnson near Grand Theater. Go visit those very, very kind folks. I don't care if you're changing your engine to buying tires. They have a very wide selection. Go check them out. Stan's Auto. All right, let's stay on this topic on Facebook and Instagram. So, Parker, when you were tapping into the social media scene illegally as a juvenile, are these some of the things that would have prohibited your activities? Do you think you could have maneuvered around them?
I mean, I'm sure there's always a way to maneuver around them.
So
that's the one thing I don't know how age verification would work on a social media platform, because I know, because you know me, I love my my sports betting sites, and so they use the age verification on that. You got to put in your social and everything. But a child, like, you're not gonna make a. Are you gonna make a child put in their social security number? Well, they want
to listen, Parker. So
that's just my. I don't know how you would do it other than that.
They want to protect kids' privacy, so they probably will do like a retina scan, and that's perfectly safe, right?
I don't know. I don't know what.
I'm
they
joking.
Would do. Do you think they would make them? Do you think I know there's apps that do like face scans.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that anywhere near my social media. I would not let any of my kids do that.
And I wouldn't let my kid put in their social to like Instagram. Like, I don't know how you would age verify.
Probably through parents.
You may they can make their parents put in their email and send a verification.
Yeah. Ooh, I see. I don't know what these restrictions are. I'm just happy that I'm happy that they're trying to control what they can control. I mean, this is a lawsuit over damages, but look what else they're getting. And that was purely a proactive move by these 29 attorneys general. So, keeping your kid looking at the screen, scrolling down, all those things. I mean, parents have been fighting that machine that is really, really good at that. Like, really good at that. Another notification, another video. Scroll. Another scroll, scroll. And behind all of it is an algorithm designed to figure out what keeps that kid kicking. Keep them engaged, man. Meta says protecting teenagers, well, it's an absolute priority, and argues that the entire industry needs common standards because kids simply move from Instagram to TikTok to YouTube, to Snapchat. Let me just say it differently. Facebook and Meta and Instagram, they're changing, so doggone it, would y'all change too? I think that's what that is. I mean, you know, I just come back to something very basic. And maybe I'm just naive here. I don't think I am. But if we want to keep this simple, government isn't going to raise our children. Silicon Valley sure as heck isn't going to raise our children. Parents have to parent. And I could get on these philosophies and I can get on my high horse about the 3 pillars. You know, our government, our country was founded on things like, you know, government, family, and church. Those are the 3 pillars. And the family has given its authority and power to the government at times. The church has given its authority and power secularly to the church or to the government. Over time and time and time, the duties of the church and role have just been passed on to the government. Families have been almost incentivized to break up homes. Almost, you would think. So as a society, if we don't get back to, and look, all this, it takes a village to raise a child. A village will mold a child as it will. But it takes parents to raise a child. So you could put all the restrictions in you won't. You're going to have smart folks like Parker at 12 years old that is going to figure out probably how to bypass a lot of this stuff, but maybe not, and maybe this delays that advancement. But I will say this. Those attorney general folks in their office, they have done a heck of a job here because they sued over damages. They touched on their lack of regulation. They touched on the behaviors that got kids addicted and things like that. But they didn't stop there. They got equitable relief, fairness. They got something for us that's non-pecuniary. I butcher that word all the time. I wanted to say it, see if I could do it live. I didn't. But monetary damages and non-monetary. This would be non-monetary damages that could really help our kids. So these are leaders. When we have these opportunities to highlight proactiveness by our elected officials, we should do it. So kudos to all those AGs out there. All right, Park, how we doing on time? Good? All right, let's start this topic because in this one. All right, my dear friends. This may be the most American story of the day. A grandma in a tiny little Missouri town, well, she started making free breakfast for her neighbors. Well, that's kind. You know, coffee, little breakfast burrito. People sitting around talking about farming and weather, their kids, basically a community. Her name is Kathy Kite, and she lives in Harrisburg, Missouri, population fewer than 300 people. Well, the local gas station, they stopped serving breakfast after COVID. People missed it. So Grandma said, oh, Kathy Kite, she came in and she said, come to my house, I'll cook. And it grew. It became a thing. Moms started bringing their kids before school. I mean, it was like a thing. Neighbors started stopping in. She wasn't charging anybody. Just come on down. It's 300 folks. Then the county health department got a complaint and sent her a letter saying that if she's serving food to the public, she needs a food permit. Let that sit in. Kite says complying would effectively require turning her 115-year-old home into a commercial kitchen. Now, her response, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a commercial kitchen so I can give my neighbors free burritos. I kind of love this woman. Now, to be fair, Parker, about the facts, we want to give everything here. The health department says there's more to the story. I'm sure. They say somebody complained that food served there had made a person sick. Well, we knew that was coming. Don't go eat there. I don't know. Nah,
if she was charging, it's one thing, but if it's free, you just don't have to eat it if you don't want to.
Well, what's the argument to say if you bring, all right, if I invite you over, I know you, but if you bring a friend, I'm saying I'm not charging, you can come over too. And I've never met that person before.
What determines between friend and public? If it's 300 people in town, they're all my friends. We're having a cookout. Every day we have a cookout.
300 people.
Every day we have a cookout. You know? I'm not a restaurant.
You're not getting a commercial kitchen.
So do I have to have a permit to barbecue at the local park now with 100 people?
Well, this is what they're saying though. They said that there was an open sign, a tip jar. Kathy, are you making money off of this? Don't you lie to me. No, it's probably just for supplies. So a tip jar, social media advertising, and a sign in the yard. That's no big deal. Which made this look, what they're saying, less grandma inviting 6 friends over and more like a public food operation. So the department, they also dispute her claim that it threatened her with jail. And they only do that in one place. And said never issued a citation or cease and desist order. Well, that's probably true. But, that's important context. But we'll talk about this. We're going into a break. Am I seeing your hand and arm signal? All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Go visit my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Start feeling better from the inside out. Get that fog out and go visit my friends. Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, 983-CARE. 983-CARE. Dr. Kevin. I love when he comes in the studio. All right, let's move on to a different topic. That was quite the ride there, Parker. Grandma, hey, look, she's trying to feed the folks. Better get your permit. That's what the county said. They said, there's more to it than Kathy's story. Kathy is not telling the truth. Hey, I don't know what those conversations are like. There's 300 people in that town. They probably know the county inspector from the big city. See? You heard that? All right. So pay attention to this one, guys. We're going to move on. When we talk about cyber attacks, most people, I think, picture, somebody stealing passwords, credit card numbers, or emails, the usual. But this is different. We're talking about the computers that control, really important things like water systems, okay? The FBI is investigating a cyber attack against a Kansas company called Microcom. Most of us probably have never heard of Microcom. Have you heard of Microcom?
I have not.
The com stands for communications. That's my guess.
Yeah, I would have. Okay. It's a good assumption.
There you go. But they make technology used by wastewater facilities, including these devices called programmable logic controllers, or PLCs. Basically, these are little industrial computers that tell physical equipment what to do. Okay, that's what a PLC is. You open this valve, turn on this pump, maintain this pressure, run this motor. And that's where it gets serious. Hackers broke into Microcom and claimed they stole hundreds of gigabytes of data. That's a lot. Now, Microcom says this particular attack did not compromise passwords or give the hackers remote access to customers' water system. They just took your blood type. It's not a big deal. And the FBI reportedly believes that this specific breach was an opportunistic ransomware attack, not part of the suspected Iranian campaign. And that is probably something the FBI definitely wants to clarify. It's not dealing with the Iranian stuff. They're not attacking our water system, not that we know of. Important distinction. But it happened like at almost exactly the same time that suspected Iranian-affiliated hackers were targeting similar industrial-controlled equipment at water facilities over there in Minnesota and at least, from what I saw, at least 6 other states. Federal authorities are warning that hackers are actively looking for these systems. So we have some systems here in our region, okay? Lafayette Parish, for example, has LUS, Slimco, Entergy. These are 3 providers. You have Clico. You have a whole bunch of them. And these are conversations that I hope are being had. I know at one point hardening the system and hardening policies were very important. And look, and I can tell you about those LUS guys. They're working hard at that. You're working with Slimco and Entergy as well, more so with Slimco. But Entergy was a great partner, man. We wouldn't have Brown Park and we wouldn't have Buc-ee's without those guys. That took a lot of teamwork to move those power lines. So that was that. So I know them. They're very proactive. So I would imagine if you're in this broadcast area, the utility systems that are covering you, and if you're viewing us outside the state, I don't know your situation. I hope they're doing it. But these are things that are happening. These conversations, they may not be happening at the boardroom. Maybe they are high level, but in the weeds with all those guys, with all those clearances and security clearances and other clearances and training, they're working on it because this is the future. And I think they've been working on it for a while. So here's the part I think that I know it got my attention, and I think it'll get your attention. Some of these attacks, they're not even like James Bond type stuff. I mean, they're finding industrial equipment connected to the internet, okay? This is not, I mean, and looking for the equivalent of an unlocked front door. Think of it like that. You know, sometimes sheriff's office sometimes will say, hey, if you don't got anything in your vehicle, just leave your vehicle unlocked. That is not supported by the sheriff. I'm just saying in the past I've heard some people say that, okay? And the reason is so they don't bust up your door, okay? But that's what these guys are saying. In the neighborhood, they're going knocking and checking on all these doors. Are they locked? Are they locked? Oh, this was not. Come on in, boys. Take the TV. That's kind of what this was. Old equipment, exposed equipment, like default passwords, weak security. That's it. And we're talking about systems controlling water. So if you are listening outside an area where, you know, those companies that I rattled off, and even those companies that I rattled off, you know, hey, you're a ratepayer. You demand this. Demand that you be at peace with the proactiveness. Hopefully that's going on. Not picking on this other this company. I'm just saying what happened because it's really not a story about one little company in Kansas. It's not. It's a warning. It's a big warning. A big old warning about how much critical American infrastructure now depends on computers that somebody somewhere can potentially reach. So in our next topic, we're going to kind of talk about why that matters more, okay, and why what we're talking about is important. But also important, I'm giving you some terms, you know, hardening your infrastructure. There's other vulnerable attacks that are way more sophisticated and more blunt than what we're discussing right now. What we're highlighting is that while we're looking at all the fancy stuff to protect ourselves against EMPs and things like that, don't forget the basics. Don't forget just the simple stuff. And again, I have faith in those 3 companies that I rattled off, and I bet you chances are you should have faith in yours as well. But there are areas outside of Louisiana a lot. We're kind of governed a little different in this regard, but still need to do this, okay? Still need to look in this stuff and hold folks' feet to the fire with love, but persistency. But you may want to look into this, whether you're outside this state or not. All right, we're going to take us a tiny little break. When we get back, we're going to talk about why all this matters. All right, stick around. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Check us out at rumble.com and KLFY Plus. Appreciate all of our viewing and listening audience. Man, go check out my friends at Indoor Recreation. Go get that custom pool table. Go get that pub swag and gear. And by the way, speaking of swag and gear, there's a lot of discounts and a lot of sales going on over there at Indoor Recreation. It's off of Rue Louis XIV, off of College Saloon. A lot of sales on Saints and Cajuns and Tigers gear right before football season. So I want you to go check them out. Give Jonathan a big old hug from Parker and I. He's a fun guy. I mean, he runs an indoor recreation place. Oh, by the way, you want to know where your kids are? Build a game room. I love that line because it's so true. So true, so true. And he lives it. All right, guys, let's move on. So we talked about some vulnerabilities about our water systems if we're not doing the basics, and we just gave one example that should not cause anybody to have any panic or anything like that. But it does highlight some importance, because across the Atlantic, we may have just seen the next step. A few days ago, British media, they were reporting that Iranian-affiliated hackers successfully knocked a UK power plant offline for 4 days. If confirmed as reported, if that is valid, it would apparently be the first time Iranian-linked hackers have actually shut down a power facility in Britain, and Britain being one of our strongest allies, if not the strongest. Fortunately, that was a small facility. The overall British power grid wasn't disrupted. The island succeeded. It was okay. But again, look at what they reportedly targeted. You had PLCs, which is the same basic category of industrial control computer we were just talking about with the American water system. Just went over it. And these things are everywhere. I mean, they're everywhere. Look, water plants, power plants, chemical facilities, hospitals, trains, elevators, traffic lights. Tim was talking about that yesterday. Fire suppression systems, prison gates, manufacturing. We can go on and on and on. These computers are essentially the nervous system. Connecting this digital world to physical machinery. So according to, I don't know if you saw this, Park, but according to cybersecurity officials, several of them, both continents, many older units were never designed for the world we're living in now. And that's what we're going to start seeing if our energy providers, or in this case our water providers, I apologize. So our water providers, or any utility providers, if we're not updating our infrastructure, then that's a problem. And I think that might be one of the areas where the Public Service Commission in Louisiana is a good thing. Maybe they have stricter rules. Maybe some more proof of compliance where it's safe and things like that. We'll have to talk to the PSC if they want to come on. Who knows? Who knows? But some of the techniques being used, I mean, they're not particularly sophisticated. I mean, scan the internet, find an exposed device, try default credentials, see if somebody forgot to lock the front door. That's the tactic. And, man, that's frightening because the consequence isn't like necessarily a social security number stolen or, I mean, we're talking about like the pump stops, the water pressure changes, the power plant goes offline. And security experts, I would imagine, are probably in these companies and in these local governments asking whether some of these smaller attacks are essentially practice runs or these reconnaissance missions. You know, kind of like COVID. I'm just saying. It's possible. It's possible. What do you think about all this? This is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
I mean, these guys hacking in and stopping water, basically.
Yeah, to me it doesn't make sense. I don't run any of that. I don't know how you stop water by hacking. But I mean, I guess anything's possible. To me it doesn't make sense, but if it's happening, it's happening.
So all of this stuff is mechanical, physical stuff happening. And then they're using the internet to control these things on a bigger scale.
Yeah,
bigger scale. So if they're tapping into these very, very weakly protected program software, then they can basically turn your internet off.
Yeah,
they can hack your internet. They can hack a lot of things.
Yeah, I remember back in the day on the PlayStation, somebody gets too mad while you're playing Call of Duty, hack onto your IP and shut your internet off for the day.
What?
I did used to happen. There's some smart 14-year-olds out there.
Man, I tell you what, that's like cutthroat.
And then if somebody was beating you on Madden, they log onto your IP, or if you were beating somebody on Madden, they log onto your IP and lag switch you.
What's that mean?
Basically, makes your internet delayed by 30 seconds, so everything's
wow.
It's called a lag switch.
Unbelievable. So man, if this is, I mean, this is some.
It's been going on for a while, like getting on.
I mean, this is like
internet.
A public service announcement.
Yeah, if you
better hide these little 14-year-olds.
Yeah, so if your kid is out there playing video games and randomly your internet goes out, yeah. That's why.
That's true. It affects everybody. Man, all right. So these are they practice runs? Probably, crawl, walk, run. But guess what? It's a practice run for us too, knuckleheads. Because I doubt very serious President Trump's administration is going to let this fly unnoticed. I would imagine you'll probably have a lot of support from intelligence and the federal government in this regard to strengthen these local entities, whether it's directly with the utility company, whether it's directly with the local governments, or both. Maybe it's a combination of the telecommunications companies out there laying down fiber and other infrastructure. That's when I say hardened against these EMPs. That's what I'm referring to specifically, so that they can survive these types of attacks. So, and that's more complicated than what we saw in that example in the United States, but also in Britain. And when you have a situation where it's really just weak internet controls. And people are just, I think the greatest analogy is they're just knocking on the door and seeing which one's unlocked. They're not even knocking on the door. They're just pulling on the handle. If your door's locked, they're moving on. If it's not locked, they're coming in. And that's kind of how you have to look at these things. But I don't want anybody panicking. These are just two things to think about. No sense. I'm telling you, I have faith that our folks in those rooms that are at least locally here, they're making great decisions, I would imagine, on this. I know some of them very well, and they work hard. And all three entities, LUS, Entergy, and Slimco, and I'll even say Clico, because we work with Clico too. Mr. Fontenot and all those guys up there. But, man, I wish we had more time. Guys, thank y'all for sticking around, tuning in. We certainly appreciate you. You are what makes the show. May God be with you. Be careful out there, and be kind.